The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
And good morning. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle. I'm Paige Clarke, and we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world here today.
To cover our natural health and regain our rights and our freedoms, I'm Nico Haan.
And it's 75 degrees here in Clearwater, Florida. We're kind of keeping an eye on Hurricane Matthew. What's up, Nico?
I'm looking at the radar right now. It looks like the intermediate bands are starting to get into Miami and Fort Lauderdale. There's really some bands out in Jacksonville even.
There's been a lot of people evacuating over there.
Oh yeah, they should too, because this is a powerful storm. Looks like it's going to ride up right up the coast. I think we even have a tropical storm warning out.
Sure.
And probably tonight it might go up to in fact, a watch, not a warning. It might go up to a warning.
So we hope you're safe and dry where you are. If you have any questions for the show, contact me, Paige at TFNN.com.
And Nico at TFNN.com.
And we're taking your questions today, bright and early, 877-927-6648.
Good. Okay, I wanted to start with an article about high fructose corn syrup. And of course, for the last decade or so, the corn manufacturers have coined a term that is corn sugar.
Yeah, they're putting a spin on the words. And so we're going to discuss some of the dangers of high fructose corn syrup and some of the alternatives.
Yeah, and not all sugar is equal, even though I think the manufacturers would like us to think that sugar is sugar no matter where you get it from. We used to get it from beets, then we get it from the sugar cane. Of course, we always had sugar in our fruits, especially the last few thousand years. We've been making our fruit more and more palatable to our sweet taste. And actually, we've done this with our lettuces and everything too, all our vegetables. One of the things I noticed when I went to that new health food store food fair.
Earth Fair.
Excuse me. Yeah, I went there and their romaine lettuce, which I really like, is just a deep, deep green, whereas at Nature's Food Patch was almost white, and I stopped buying it over there because it was like a plant that was mostly white with a little light green. And you go over to this new place, and it's just got really dark color to it, and that's where all the nutrients are in the color.
Well, you're right, because pigment is power.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about high fructose corn syrup. It's mostly made, folks, from genetically modified corn, which we know is a no-no anyways. And it's definitely not natural, and it's definitely not healthy. And, chances are most of you are consuming high fructose corn syrup at, many points in your lives, not even knowing it. But we've got to pay attention. It's hard to escape this questionable nutrient because it's found in our, just all over our food supply, in cereals, baked goods, ultra-processed foods, juices and sodas.
Anything that's processed is going to have this in it because it's much, much easier for them to work with.
And it's cheap.
And it's very, very inexpensive. And of course, we've got lots and lots of GMO corn in this country.
Absolutely, because farmers used to be subsidized to let their fields go unplanted and unharvested in order to boost the agricultural economy, but not anymore. Today, they're actually paid to overproduce, and that's why high fructose corn syrup and other corn-based products are now dominating grocery store shelves.
Yeah. So what is this stuff? And I think.
Why is it so bad?
Well, I think
lots of reasons are plentiful.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with a lot of it, how we get it, because it really comes. It's a sweetener derived from cornstarch, and cornstarch is composed of a chain of glucose, which is simple sugar molecules joined together. And corn syrup, which is basically 100% glucose, comes from the breakdown of cornstarch into individual glucose moleccules.
Well, then there's separate enzymes then that cause it to break down into a simple sugar called fructose. And, when fructose is naturally occurring in a fruit, it's a little easier because the enzymes come to digest it. But through this process, it becomes a very difficult form of sugar to be processed by our body and is extremely stressful on the liver and is now being tied to a number of deadly health issues, including obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease.
Yeah. When they first studied this, they were kind of elated because it looked like the high fructose corn syrup did not spike insulin. It kind of bypassed the whole process and went straight to the liver. And then they thought this would be good for the diabetics. But what's really happened is the secondary thing that we have our satiety hormone,
Right.
which is the leptin.
Yes, correct.
And
leptin and ghrelin work together. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is what's really the problem because it does spike that, so it makes you more hungry, and our manufacturers really know this. So when you're buying a Diet Coke, when you're buying your Diet Pepsi or any diet drink, it actually makes you hungrier, and the more of that you drink, remember, we were drinking these small little containers for many years, then starting
Everything
in the
became
80s,
supersized.
Supersized, 64 ounces. And actually what happens is you fill up on this stuff and you get hungrier and hungrier and hungrier.
You know, the food manufacturers like to say that it's just like sugar, folks, but it's just not true. It's very different than regular sugar, and it contains more fructose than table sugar, and that's a dangerous difference. There was a report, there was an author named Bill Sanda who reported in 1980 that the average American ingested 39 pounds of fructose and 84 pounds of sucrose. But by 1994, it was up to 66 pounds of sucrose and 83 pounds of fructose. The average American on the standard American diet is now consuming approximately 25% of their caloric intake in empty sugars, and the large portion of this being fructose.
And of course, we have no nutritional need for any of it, any
Correct.
kind of sugar
So
at
it's
all.
wasted caloric energy.
It really is, and it does spike a lot of things. And of course, normal sugar does too. And of course, we have the combination of the fructose, which doesn't spike it, but then we have also some of the sucrose in there that does spike it.
Well,
So
either way,
regardless.
the body does not process these
Right.
sugar molecules. And here's are some of the reasons. Here's some high fructose corn syrup facts. You know, we already talked about people, you know, the average American probably unknowingly is consuming over 50 grams of high fructose corn
That's a
syrup
lot,
a day. It also has, as we mentioned, been shown to increase the risk of high blood pressure, diabetes, and heart disease. So if you've got loved ones that are struggling with any of these situations, please encourage them to take a look at their pantry. They may need to do a pantry purge.
Yeah, it also can cause leaky gut syndrome. Contains up to 570 micrograms of health hazardous mercury per gram.
That's, you know, and when you start to look at the allowable levels of mercury, you'd be amazed that, you know, we're getting way more than we need.
Yeah, and the other two facts is that it has been shown to promote cancer, and also the average 20-ounce soda can has about 15 tablespoons of sugar, and all of it high fructose corn syrup. So we're going to be back, and I want to talk about the dangers specifically of high fructose corn syrup. Also want to mention that we do have a brand new Health Signals newsletter out.
Hot off the press.
Yeah, and the last page has a report on sunspot cycle 15, which is the one coming up after
25?
24. We're in right now. It's coming up 25. So take a look at that, and Paige and I'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And welcome back to the show, folks. We're talking about health issues here with high fructose corn syrup, and we want to talk about the dangers of it.
It's probably going to take the whole show.
Yeah, that's for sure. The first one is weight gain. There's a lot of debate about high fructose corn syrup versus sugar. And many of the high fructose corn syrup supporters want to state that both of them are equally bad. But
the research is just not panning that out.
No, it's really not. A Princeton University study found that high fructose corn syrup causes more weight gain than refined sugar even does.
Yeah, it was found that animal subjects with access to high fructose corn syrup put on significantly more weight than those with access to table sugar, even when overall caloric intake was equal.
Yeah, so we know there's something going on there with that satiety because it does make you hungry, so naturally you overeat.
And this is crucial too.
Yeah.
Long-term consumption of high fructose corn syrup leads to abnormal increases in body fat percentages, especially in the abdominal region. So when I see men or women with the belly out here, and they say, I don't eat that much. It's what they're eating and what's in what they're eating.
Right. And mainly because of the triglyceride levels really go up with this.
Oh, yeah. The triglycerides, which many people, because they're called blood fats, they still make this connection that somehow or another that's tied to fats. Completely opposite. When your triglycerides are high, you're getting sugars.
Exactly. Yeah. So the other one is high fructose corn syrup has been found in so many foods and beverages. It's no surprising that fructose intake has dramatically increased. And one of the things I noticed when I went to visit my sister and she was getting that drip because she was no longer eating, the first thing in there was water. The second thing was high fructose corn syrup. This is what they were feeding somebody who's already...
We're not making this up, guys. Did you hear what he just said? We're not making this up.
I mean, I was really shocked.
The other food that they give people is those little cans of Ensure. And if you look at those corn syrup, milk solids, another name. Yet here we see, in 2010, the American Association for Cancer Research found that fructose and high fructose corn syrup promotes cancer growth, specifically pancreatic.
Yes, the study actually found that cancer cells can readily metabolize fructose and induce rapid reproduction of the pancreatic cancer cells.
So knowing that, you'd really want to take a close look at any of the foods that are being fed or recommended to your loved ones.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. It
Well,
really
we know
is.
that sugar itself, any kind of sugar, is what cancer feeds on. So you would think that in a hospital that's the first thing
Well,
that
we
comes to
say
mind.
this, but a doctor with someone in care, they don't advise people of that in this country.
Yes.
They don't advise people of that in this country. I've, having just gone through that in the last year or so.
Yeah, this
with
research
family
provides a very good reason why cancer patients should be not given anything containing high fructose corn syrup and
members.
avoiding
For sugars
that.
in general.
And sugars in general, definitely.
Okay, number 3, fatty liver and liver stress. Can't stress this enough to you. So we know that fructose is known to stimulate fat accumulation in the liver by increasing fat synthesis, and yet it blocks fat breakdown. And so in order to create high fructose corn syrup, we know that glucose and fructose, which are naturally linked together, become separated. So when this happens, the high fructose syrup enters your bloodstream, and then it's freed up, and the fructose travels directly into your liver and overwhelms your liver's processing capability. This causes unnatural and unhealthy fat production in your liver, and it's called lipogenesis.
Yeah, and this leads to the fatty liver disease if more than 5% to 10% of the liver's weight becomes fat. And it doesn't stop there. Having fatty liver can lead to serious liver stress, liver damage, obesity, pre-diabetic, and of course type 2 diabetes.
So that's what we often see them hand in hand. As I've always said, many of our hormones are produced in the liver. The liver is just such a fabulous organ, and we know that the high fructose corn syrup is really a stressor for it. And there were a couple animal studies that showed that excessive fructose consumption association with dyslipidemia, which means your blood fats, cholesterols, are out of order. This causes increased fat deposits in the liver. And, you're going to really see a clue is if you or a loved one has elevated triglycerides, these sneaky bad sugars are getting into your diet somehow.
Yeah, so these findings support the limitation of excessive fructose addition in beverages in order to counteract the current epidemic. So what they're saying basically is that this has to really come out of all the foods and all the
supports
drinks.
the limitation of them, right.
Yeah. And it's really important to understand that we still do have a phobia of fat. So if you're eating anything that's low fat, you better believe that the high fructose corn syrup is in there. And of course now, if there's a certain percentage there, a smaller percentage than what the government says you should have, you don't have to have it on the label too.
That's right, and it's scary. So increased cholesterol levels are another health issue that we see when we're ingesting high fructose corn syrup, and it's linked to the high cholesterol levels. Well, it's no surprise because we know that sugars are really what are irritating our blood vessels and our endothelial function, and most likely, as normal, the cholesterol is there trying to repair damage caused from these sugars.
Yeah, there was an American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, which is a study, found that only 2 weeks of the moderate consumption of high fructose corn syrup causes cholesterol and the triglycerides to rise.
So it doesn't take long to see that the body is definitely struggling with damage and having to send in its repair force, which is your cholesterol.
Yeah, and this is a really good study because they took 85 people and they had them into 4 separate groups. The first 3 groups consumed drinks sweetened with either 25% or 17.5% or 10% of the fructose corn syrup, while the 4th group drank something sweetened only with aspartame.
Oh, the other real
the other good one. Why do these studies do this?
He says, while I would never promote aspartame consumption either, the results showed that LDL or bad cholesterol, and that's not even true, and it's in quotes, for the aspartame group remained the same before and after the diet. However, for the subjects that consumed high fructose corn syrup beverages for 2 weeks, the results were as follows. The 10% group on average their LDL went,
102 to 95.
Right, and the 17.5 group went from 102 from 93, and the 25% group went to 107 from 91. So they all had a significant increase in the blood cholesterol levels.
So the lead researcher says it was a surprise that adding as little as an equivalent of a half a can of soda at breakfast, lunch, and dinner was enough to produce the significant increases in risk factors for cardiovascular disease.
First of all, I'm even surprised that anybody would still drink a soda. With everything that we know, I think we need to. It's just hard to believe. But he said as little as a half a can of soda at breakfast, lunch, and dinner
So that's a can and a half.
Yes, that would be a can and a half for the day.
And I know people that drink 6, 8, 10 cans a day.
It's crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Let's go on. Diabetes, I think this is pretty self-evident. And, there are still a lot of health practitioners and colleagues that I know, even medical doctors, that think that fructose is better for diabetics than sugar. Maybe, again, this similarity in the word fructose, because it is also a sugar found in fruits, but it's just not true, not in these refined states. But every cell in the body can metabolize glucose. Fructose, on the other hand, must be metabolized by the liver. So you see, we come back to putting stress with an isolated sugar on an organ that is just the workhouse of the body.
Yeah, if it's under stress, it's not going to be able to do its regular functions. It's too busy fighting off what you don't want.
And we're always fighting for your health, so stay tuned. We'll be back after the break. Give us a call, join in on the conversation.
And pick up some Primal Edge during the break.
See ya in a minute.
You've heard Nico de Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, and we're going down and dirty in the dangers of high fructose corn syrup, and we're number 5, and we're talking about diabetes as if that wasn't kind of obvious. And I meant the comment about, how fructose is not the same as the natural fructose we get in fruit, because in fruit, it contains the fructose sugars, yet it also has the fiber and the nutrients and the naturally occurring enzymes that positively affect the breakdown of that particular food. But that's not the case with high fructose corn syrup, which is a heavily processed industrial product. And recent data suggests that fructose consumptions in humans leads to increased visceral fat. Think the fat around the organs that creates the danger. And this accumulation impairs the regulation of the blood fats, which are the cholesterols and the triglycerides, and decreases insulin sensitivity.
Yeah. And all the side effects of these are really have been associated with increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes, of course, as well as the heart disease, cardiovascular disease.
Yeah, it just goes on and on, folks. This, the studies. There was one in Global Health that showed that countries that mix high fructose corn syrup into processed foods and drinks have higher rates of diabetes than countries that don't use high fructose corn syrup. Hey, here's a point. As I said, does anybody really drink sodas anymore? Coca-Colas, I'll say the brands, Pepsis, I don't really care. But, there are some people that still do, and they'll go to, say, a Mexican market.
Yeah, or Costco even carries.
Or they do? Okay,
Yeah.
or Costco, and you can actually buy the Coca-Colas that have cane
Mexico,
sugar.
yeah.
Yeah, they have cane sugar and no high fructose corn syrup. If
Right.
you absolutely think you have to have these,
This is a better choice. for
yeah, I mean, if,
sure. Not a
if you
good
do.
choice, but a better choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't that interesting, though? Why do we allow it? Well, it's our country, and, it's pretty obvious what's going on with the shape of the United States citizen.
Yeah, in other countries, high fructose corn syrup, the contents of food was between 1 pound a year per person. In Germany, about 55 pounds each year per person in the U.S. So in Germany, 1 pound they're doing of the high fructose corn syrup.
That's worth repeating again. In
55.
Germany, the average is 1 pound per year of high fructose corn syrup, but in the United States, it's 55 pounds. And I can tell you, you'll see a big difference in the appearance of the
Well,
people.
we have about 20% more diabetes than Germany does. Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah,
and it's directly because
It's pretty
of
easy
this.
to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And, here's another condition that's just rampant around the world, and particularly here in the U.S., high blood pressure. Fructose intake from added sugars is associated with high blood pressure, Nico. And,
Indeed it is.
There was a study in the publication Metabolism, and it compared the effects of soft drinks sweetened with high fructose corn syrup versus sucrose, or table sugar. And in this study, the researchers had 40 men and women consume 24 ounces of either high fructose syrup or sucrose sweetened beverage, and they collected the urine and blood samples over the next 6 hours to measure all of these features, and they found that systolic blood pressure reaches maximum levels, and they were higher with those that had consumed the high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, research.
It just goes on and on.
Yeah, research has shown that consuming 60 grams of fructose increases the systolic blood pressure in humans. Study after study, overweight men have been given 200 grams of fructose for 2 weeks, and it was observed that they maintain a significantly high rise in the blood pressure
Yeah.
that is, going through the blood. Hypertension is a response to fructose.
It really is. I mean, period. Let's just take a look at it. So again, we have to take control of our health by making changes and taking a look. Let's look at the most prevalent disease in this country, heart disease. The fact that the high fructose corn syrup raises blood pressure is reason enough to make it extremely bad for your heart. High blood pressure is a big part of the cluster of dangerous health issues that we call metabolic syndrome, of which diabetes is also one.
Yeah, there's a research done at Children's Hospital in Oakland, and they found that free fructose from high fructose corn syrup requires more energy to be absorbed by the gut and soaks up to 2.
Oh, we're actually into the gut now? You're
Yeah.
reading a study? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
okay.
I switched over.
Yeah, you were wanting to go over the heart study. According to a 15-year
That's the
Harvard
one.
study,
Right.
participants who took 25% or more of their daily calories in sugar were more than twice as likely to die from heart disease as those whose diets included less than 10% sugar. That basically, folks, is following a primal paleo diet, like what we've been sharing and caring with you for going on some 7-8 years now.
Yeah.
So,
Another thing I want to bring up, too, is I was listening to a podcast last night, and now they have a breathalyzer that will indicate whether you're in ketosis or not. No longer do you have to prick your finger or do the urine test, but you can actually use this. And the people who were talking about this were saying that, the guy says, well, I was thinking of trying it while I was drinking. So he says, I blow into it before I take a drink. Fine, in ketosis. Have 1 glass of wine, blow into it, I'm in ketosis. Second one, I'm in ketosis. Third one knocks it out.
Yeah.
And it's different for everybody. So this is going to be a good tool.
But maybe if you eat the dry farm wines I told you about.
Maybe you can drink 3 or 4. But
we know that once you go past that 1 or 2, you're kind of pushing it. But
this is a good tool you can use before exercise, after exercise, and I'll get the name of it.
Yeah,
let's
order some, and we can
I'm going to try it. It's not the cheap product. It's $150, and then you have to buy a battery for $15 or $20. So it's not cheap, but I think it's a good tool to use, and I'm part of Dr. Pompa's group, and they're really advocating, starting to monitor it. So instead of monitoring our blood sugar, we're going to monitor our ability to produce ketones, where our energy. Yeah, and people who really have been on this for a long time, they can almost feel the switch over. When all of a sudden you're burning fat and then switches to the sugar because of something you did. And if you're very sensitive. It
takes you a couple days to get back in there.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes you can do it immediately. Depends on your diet. It really does.
I think you're right. Yeah. So number 8, leaky gut syndrome.
That's the one I was trying to talk
about. It's referred to as an increase in intestinal permeability, meaning that the tight junctions in the gut get separated. Food particles, undigested, that's why I say it's always great to make sure you're digesting and disinfecting your food, escape, and these irritants get into the bloodstream. This is just really havoc.
And your blood has a real problem with that.
Your net digestive tract is damaged, and the effects are extremely...
Well, it says here that once these holes in the lining exist, it's very easy for unwanted toxins and food to enter the bloodstream, and these invaders are not supposed to be there. Exactly, and they trigger inflammation.
We're not supposed to have our food, right.
And remember, if inflammation is the root of many health problems, we're talking obesity, diabetes, cancer, heart disease, dementia, and accelerated aging. That alone, accelerated aging, scares the heck out of me.
And number 9, this was a little bit surprising for some of you, I'm sure, that
it was for
consuming high fructose corn syrup really increases the mercury intake. And why is this? Because multiple studies have found alarming amounts of mercury in products containing high fructose corn syrup. This can contribute to mercury poisoning, as mercury is stored in the fat cells and it accumulates.
Yeah, and of course this puts another stress on the liver, but not only the liver, but also the kidneys, the brain.
Mercury is extremely toxic to our bodies, and it's horrifying to think, all of us, that I call the mercury generation, our parents didn't really know better. Dentists kind of took over and insisted that we fill our teeth with silver fillings. Well, folks, they're not mostly silver, they're mostly mercury.
Yeah. In a study published in Environmental Health, mercury was detected in almost 50% of the samples of commercial high fructose corn syrup. Another highly concerning study by the Institute of Agriculture and Trade Policy found mercury in a third of 55 popular brand name foods and beverage products.
Yeah, and again, this really didn't go into detail behind it, but why is mercury part of that?
Think of Kraft and Quaker and Hershey's and Smucker's and all these brand names that you're very familiar with.
Well, those are the brands you need to turn away from as you do your pantry purge. We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And welcome to the show, folks. I'd like to remind you that my newsletter is new this morning.
New newsletter.
New newsletter. Please pick that up. It's only $10 a month. You get 2 issues on the first and third Tuesday.
Yeah, everybody loves it. It's got great links.
So now let's break down of how these things are made and why they may be bad for us. The first one being the high fructose corn syrup, and then we'll go through all the other sweeteners. I think that's a good idea.
I think so.
So to create high fructose corn syrup, caustic soda is used to shuck the corn kernel from its starch, and corn syrup is then created. Enzymes.
Commonly, the enzymes that they use to make this are already GMO. So you got the GMO corn with GMO added enzymes, and these convert the corn sugar to a super sweet fructose. And it goes on and on, but these high fructose corn syrup contains no true enzymes, no vitamins or minerals, and only sugars and empty calories.
And the reason it's GMO, it's really modified to improve their heat stability during the process, because they use really high heat, destroying just about everything good, and if there's anything good in it, I don't know.
Once it's over 118 degrees, guys, all the enzymes are dead. So
yeah, and they contain no enzymes, they contain no vitamins, no minerals, only sugar and calories.
So relative sweetness, high fructose corn syrup is 1.5 times sweeter than table sugar. But as we talked, it's metabolized into fat in your body far more rapidly than any other sugar. And unlike sugar, you'll never see high fructose corn syrup in the supermarket because it's only available to food processors. Yeah. So you can't just go buy a sack of high fructose corn syrup. They use it in the production. And as we know, the majority of the food produced in this country is using this sugar.
Yeah, and that's not all. It's of course, all the sugar today, or all the corn today, is genetically modified. So, and that's modified for what I said previously, but also modified to get a bigger yield out of it.
Exactly. Exactly. So in general, just staying away from anything that's GMO will automatically eliminate this as a food choice. But we just went over high fructose corn syrup real briefly. You'll see corn syrup, and they're doing this now because people have become educated and they know that high fructose syrup isn't good. But let's still kind of cover corn syrup. Yeah. Again, the corn in this country is GMO, and it's also made of yellow number 2 dent corn that's converted to a syrup using sulfuric dioxide and hydrochloric acid and various enzymes and water, and it's converted into ordinary corn syrup through a process called acid hydrolysis.
Yeah, ordinary corn syrup contains dextrose sugar, which is about 3/4 as sweet as the sucrose sugar in cane or beet sugar.
Yeah. So due to the ample supply of corn in this country, you can expect to see that corn sugar and high fructose corn syrup will continue to be used extensively in consumable, I call SAD foods, standard American diet foods.
Now the next one is agave, which is the new one, and I really...
Agave, folks, I think a lot of people, I want to go through this.
It's one of the most dangerous, I think.
I think a lot of people, it was sold into the health food industry, and hopefully more of you are starting to understand. It is marketed and consumed today as a natural sweetener, and it's basically high fructose corn syrup masquerading as a health food, except instead of coming from a corn, it comes from a cactus. And
highly processed.
Yeah, Dr. Bowden, who I just love, he says research shows that it's the fructose part of sweeteners that's the most dangerous. We covered that in the first part of the show.
Right.
Because it causes the insulin resistance, it significantly raises triglycerides, it also increases fat around the middle, which puts you at greater risk for all the metabolic syndrome diseases.
Yeah, it's also supposedly lowers your glycemic index, but these claims don't seem to be founded on any of the studies that were done.
Yeah,
So
that's true. And, it's about 1.5 times sweeter than table sugar. But even though it has a low glycemic index, it's made largely of the fructose. And I think we've kind of made that point clear that this is not good for our livers.
This is the most highly processed food today, I think, in the world, because it's just so high in fructose. I mean, high fructose,
it's the highest fructose content of any commercial sweetener on the market, and compared to the 1-to-1 fructose-glucose ratio of sugar and high fructose corn syrup, agave nearly has a whopping 2-to-1 ratio. So, folks, don't be fooled. Do a pantry purge, get rid of the agave along with the high fructose syrup.
So the fructose is about 75%, and the sucrose is about 25% in the agave. And I tried it when it first came out because there was a big sign there, the new health, and I said, oh, baby, maybe this is something, and I tried it. Immediately, I could tell that it was a bad thing.
Yeah.
I threw it out.
No, I mean, it's about
and it's expensive.
Yeah, about 8 years ago, I thought maybe through one bottle, I thought this was a good thing. But then as I dove down, I think it was Dr. McCullough that really opened my eyes.
Yes.
He was really quick to expose the dangers of fructose, but as he calls it, fructose. I don't know, you can call it fructose or fructose. But anyways, now we're going to talk about sugar.
Yep.
And, common white sugar, table sugar, comes from sugar cane that undergoes washing and separation that produces naturally white, purified crystals that are 99.9% sucrose. Raw sugar is less processed and contains 96% sucrose and 4% of plant materials contained in the mother liquid. So, again, it's the processing. The more it's processed, the more the enzymes and so forth and fiber that help us to digest it. And, just in general, extra calories from sucrose and fructose sweetened foods can both increase fat accumulation and, creates havoc in the blood, liver, and the fatty tissues. It increases your risk of all these diseases we've talked about today.
Yeah, I think it's just something that you need to cut out of your diet completely.
Are you familiar with succinate?
No.
Okay, succinate is a sugar product that comes from dehydrated sugarcane juice and retains all of the nutrients found in natural sugarcane juice, including iron, calcium, B6, and potassium. Brown sugar has molasses added into it, and it contains some calcium, potassium, iron, while white sugar and high fructose corn syrup both provide empty nutritionalist calories. So if you are going to use one of these other sugars in the sugar category, you might want to look at succinate and brown sugar.
Now, the natural sugars, not excluding, of course, the agave.
Yeah, just get that out of your head. Yeah. Agave is a highly processed food.
Yeah. The only one I really use is raw honey. And I use that because I like the taste of it. It does contain some fructose, but it's loaded with enzymes and antioxidants, iron, zinc, potassium,
Well, it
calcium.
is loaded with enzymes as long as it's processed right. So even though we see the word raw, there are a lot of people that are using that word, but they are artificially heating honey too hot. So it's important that you ask a producer, and I can guarantee I can walk into any health food store. That's why I love that.
You'll find both, yeah.
You very rarely see one that says unheated. You'll see raw.
Yep.
But if you really do your research, and that's why I think the best honey in the world, which comes from 3 pristine places through Premier Research, because it's not only raw, it is unheated. And because many people produce raw honey, but they'll heat it slightly to get it to pour more easily. So be careful.
I use the really raw honey, which is a real
yeah, I'm
unheated.
familiar with that brand.
And it's a nice product, and they have it regionally.
Yeah, it's important to try and get your honey from your region, because it's from the pollinators. Our sweet bees, are gathering that. And that's a whole other show.
Yeah, and then they have things like stevia, of course.
Well, stevia is my sweetener of choice. I like raw honey and stevia. And
stevia has no calories.
Stevia is an herb. It is a natural herb native to South America, and it's been used for hundreds of years in that region to support healthy blood sugar. How about that? Stevia actually helps support your blood sugar, and it creates a prompt weight loss.
Yeah. So when we come back, we're going to talk about
continue,
the
give you some more
alternatives to high fructose corn syrup, what you should be using, what you can use, and what's not a good idea. So stick around, folks. We'll be back in a few minutes. Pick up my Health Signals newsletter. Pick up some not high fructose.
Some of our Primal Edge,
Primal
and we'll
Edge,
see you right after the break.
Thanks.
My name is Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability and host of the Trader's Edge Show, heard daily here at TFNN.com. On Wednesday, October 19th at 5 p.m., I'll be hosting a special one-hour event, Trading Range Boundary Lines, where I'll teach subscribers how to identify hidden support and resistance levels, the kind that you definitely need to be aware of for your trading and investing. You'll learn how to plot major horizontal support and resistance, how to identify breakouts and breakdowns, and how to project the next price move. These support and resistance levels work for stocks, ETFs, futures contracts, currencies, and these patterns work on every time frame. By signing up for Mastering Probability right now, you get the first month of my newsletter service for only $49, and that includes October 19th's Trading Range Boundary webinar. Plus, if you sign up now, I'll include access to my 3 one-hour workshops, the ultimate trading signals, the ultimate reversal signals, and the long, short line that every trader needs to know. This is an investment you won't regret. For all the details of the upcoming workshop and reserve your seat today, visit the front page of TFNN.com now.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors. Join John Logan as he teaches you trading techniques utilizing the TAS Profile Scanner. The Global Market Pulse, next on TFNN.
And we're continuing our discussion on the bittersweet truth of sweeteners, and we've covered a couple of the natural sweeteners that can make a good choice for you to satisfy that sweet tooth. We talked about raw, unheated honey. We talked about stevia, an herb that is natural and actually helps with blood sugar support. And there's other fruits like dates and bananas that can make excellent choices in small amounts, moderated amounts. And while they contain natural occurring fructose, they also contain the fiber and the vitamins and the minerals that help our bodies. And it doesn't exhibit the same negative biological effects as the free high fructose corn syrup does. So even natural sweeteners need to be used in moderation, as I said, because they can raise blood sugar, and high blood sugar levels of all kinds, create health problems. But in moderation, with intelligence, you can occasionally, address that sweet tooth. So we covered those And another one that we didn't mention was blackstrap molasses, and you want to kind of get rid of some gray hair, a lot of that high copper content. Maybe add that into, and you can dilute it with apple cider vinegar. That's a great way to do that morning terrific tonic with a little bit of molasses.
Balsamic glaze, banana puree, brown rice syrup,
even real fruit jam, if for that small amount. But again, we can't be doing this. There's some more information in this article, kind of about the nefarious history of high fructose corn syrup. It doesn't surprise me. We know that that wherever there's industry and where there's money to be made, the health and well-being of the people goes sideways. So I just hope that you understand that we're truly sharing information that can be life-saving for those of you and your loved ones.
Yeah. So this article does some final recommendations. So
some final thoughts to kind of recap so you can know where to go.
The first one is avoid any products containing high fructose corn syrup or added fructose, which may have negative effects on your health.
And remember, fruit juice, which is a processed, dead, enzymatically dead product, even the unsweetened variety naturally contain fructose and should be consumed in very, very small quantities. It's eating a whole fruit with its blood sugar balancing fiber that is a much better option than juices.
Yeah, unless you want to lose weight, and then I would stay away from that also.
Well, yeah, I just think that that's just not a good choice at all.
Yeah. A big way to avoid high fructose corn syrup is to completely remove ultra-processed foods from your diet.
That's just a great place to start. Yeah. Another way to avoid all sweetened soft drinks, as I said during the show, I find it hard to believe that people with the information still consume these empty calories. So just eliminate them.
They are addictive. So.
And, we talked about it. The average soda contains toxic levels of high fructose corn syrup. Get it out of your diet.
Yeah, so opt for naturally carbonated mineral water, herbal teas, green teas instead, maybe some coffee.
And
Stick
just
with
some
home
good
brews.
clean water.
Yeah.
You can take a little squirt of lemons and limes or maybe a little shot of pomegranate. You and I have always shared that research shows pomegranate actually removes, just add a dash of that.
Yeah, 2 or 3 ounces of these little concoctions are really good for you. But if you're losing weight, I would even not do that. Water is the thing that you need because that helps remove fat from you. So, we have a lot of options these days, probably more options than we've ever had. The problem is a lot of these options are not good for you.
That's right, and we really have to kind of follow the chain there of what's going on. So high fructose corn syrup definitely is on the top list of food that you need to avoid to stay healthy and to achieve your ideal weight.
Yeah, if you want to lose weight, you're not going to use it. If you want to be healthy, you're not going to use it. And if you've got any kind of indication of any of these modern diseases, if you're over 50 years old, I recommend stay away from all these packaged foods.
Exactly.
Get yourself into a kitchen and start making your own stuff from locally gathered produce or animals.
That's right.
And then you'll be in really good shape.
And just in closing, I just wanted to highlight, I have been busy the last few weeks. I went to the Bulletproof Conference, and that was fantastic. This past weekend, I was at the 10th Annual Microcurrent Conference. Dr. Kondrot, America's favorite eye doctor, great information. This weekend, I'm going to the Homoprophylaxis Seminar here in St. Petersburg, an alternative to vaccination used worldwide. Give you some updates next week.
Thanks for sticking around, folks.
Have a great day.
Time.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.